Really sucks.
So that's pickleball.
That's it.
Yeah, pickleball research.
Okay.
Yep. I went to the store and everything.
Did anybody know what it was on council?
Don't know if anybody did.
No, I didn't. John did. John or Carol.
Yeah, John did.
Yeah,
I didn't know if Tammy did. If she knew.
I know Tom wouldn't know.
Everybody, no, Tom, no. Tom, do you know what pickleball is? He didn't know.
Just from the explanation that we had previously, that's the first I've heard of it. I know from being in Florida, I've
Yeah.
heard, a lot of people down there played pickleball. They had a lot of teams and stuff like that. Competitions they would have, but I didn't know what it was at that time. I didn't know if it was a gherkin or a dill or what it was.
Me either. I didn't know what it was either.
Was a sweet dill.
That's it.
So we are live and we're recording.
Okay, George, turn it over to you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about pickleball. I have a presentation here if I can get Jim to put it up.
Pull your mic down a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Can you pull up the presentation, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share this screen.
Shared with everybody.
There we go.
All right, you can go right to the next page. So this is our mission statement. I want to talk just a little bit about this. We are currently, we're in the process of updating our mission statement. We are attempting to reflect who we are trying to become. Right now, we want to try to reach out beyond the waterfront. And by doing this, we will become a much stronger arm to Conneaut and all the residents of the city. This by no means means it is an attempt to try to move away from the waterfront. It's to expand beyond the waterfront and allow us to attempt to support economic growth as well as recreational activities all across Conneaut and the entire region. Jim? A little bit about the highlights in the proposal that we put before you. You might ask why. Why would we want to do this? Why is the port asking to do this? We truly are trying to become an asset to the entire city, young and old, and at all levels of economic status. Our request was originally for Liberty Street Park. That is for pickleball. It's the best. It has 3 courts, which I'll explain a little bit later, but on those 3 courts that are there, you could have 6 pickleball courts. Dean Avenue would work as well. Lakeview Park would probably be a challenge. And I'm not sure that would even be an option with the things that we're talking about doing in Conneaut there. However, Dean Avenue would be a higher expense because the court there is in pretty rough shape. It's got some pretty large cracks, and to play pickleball on a court like that, you get balls going everywhere. We do not intend to remove any of the things there, like playground equipment or basketball equipment, unless at some point it becomes deemed unsafe or unrepairable. At that point, we'd look at whether or not we would replace it or repair it to a point where it can be used safely. The other thing I wanted to point out is that, with a proven track record with the Conneaut Foundation, I did reach out to them and see if they wanted to have some involvement. And I'll just take just a second to explain how this all came about. I was driving down Liberty Street and I saw a big sign on the Liberty Street tennis courts that said sponsored by Conneaut Foundation. So I called somebody on the Conneaut Foundation and asked him, hey, what are you guys doing here? And the person I called said, I have no idea. So he calls me back in about an hour and says, hey, that sign's been there for 2 years. And it came back from when they helped with the resurfacing of the courts. So I kind of explained to them what I was thinking of. And I went to our leadership at the Port Authority and explained to them. And but getting back to the Conneaut Foundation for a minute, they were very excited about the idea. They thought that was perfect. They thought it fit right into the things that they like to do and like to be part of. So they want to go along with us. And then I also spoke to Insight, and they are willing to work with us on that, on this project, at whatever level we would like to have them participate on. We also went to our insurance carrier and discussed with them the hypothetical ideas. And they actually went, it's our insurance agent, they went to our carrier, we're with PEP, and found out that there was no additional charge for any of the things we want to do. As a matter of all we have to do is add it to our addresses. And as long as we don't charge, there's no issue from a liability standpoint, from an insurance standpoint. Pickleball, there's also, so pickleball's been one of the fastest growing sports in the United States over the last, gosh, it was formed in 1965. So but it's only been in the last 4 or 5 years that it's really been growing. And there is a foundation or a pickleball association. It's the USA Pickleball Association. And there's startup funds available for some startup opportunities. So something that we would reach out to and see if we could get some extra funds to be able to support this project. At some point, we would like to add lights. And also and I'll talk a little bit about this too, is we also would like to add wintertime sports, wintertime activity of ice skating. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Jim, thanks. As I said, pickleball was formed in 1965. A couple of guys in Washington State, U.S. congressman, as well as his golfing partner on weekends. And they came home from playing around to golf on a Saturday and found that the family was sitting around and not doing anything and kind of bored. So they had a badminton set on the property that it was already set up, courts and everything. So these two gentlemen went looking for rackets and what do they call it, cocks, to play pickleball or to play badminton. Couldn't find them, but they were able to find some ping pong paddles and some perforated wiffle balls, much like this one. And just started playing it in their backyard, and it just grew from there. So this was in '65, and in 2005, the USAPA became and was formed and established their first board of directors. The USPA then in July of 2005, they became a nonprofit corporation. And then they got together and cooperated with all these small satellite pickleball clubs around the country that had websites to find places to play. And they consolidated all of those into their website. And now there's one website to be able to find places around to play. And that is called placestoplay.org. And so in 2015, surpassed 10,000 members of this organization. They held their first retreat in Tahoe City, California. And in 2015, they had over 2 million players of pickleball in the United States. So it started to grow. They moved their national championship to Casa Grande, Arizona. And the total number of courts on places to play continued to grow and broke 10,000 courts and finished the year with 12,800 courts in 2015. So it's growing pretty fast. 2019 to 2020, the Sports Fitness Industries Association 2019 report indicated that pickleball continues as one of the fastest growing sports in the US, and participants have now reached 3 million people, 3.3 million. They rebranded that year. They rebranded under Pickleball USA, or USA Pickleball, I'm sorry, and aligned more consistently in other US sports, along like tennis and other sports like that. And they also hold a national championship now. So just to give you an idea on pickleball courts, the overall length of the court is 44 feet and the width is 20 feet. It's divided into 6 sections, as you can see in this drawing. The red section is a place where it's no man's land. It's called the kitchen, and you do not play in that area. You play in the other sections of the courts, and the ball has to, you don't go into that area to play. You can enter that area, but you have to immediately exit that area if you're playing the game, the red zone. The net is right down the middle, obviously, and it's 36 inches high on the ends, and it comes down to 34 inches high in the middle. So it's shorter than it's lower than a tennis net, and I believe the tennis is 44, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, the cool thing about pickleball is you can almost fit 2 courts inside of 1 tennis court. So you can see that it doesn't take as much property or much land or space to put in enough courts to be able to play in a fair number of people to play. There is a possibility we could fit more courts into some of our courts here in Conneaut if we turned them 90 degrees. They'll almost fit perfectly. And with the extra surface that's on each side, I think there's going to be enough room. Okay, just a little bit about, and by the way, that is the new branding down there in the right-hand corner of the screen that shows the US Pickleball. That's their logo, but that's their new branding. Just a little bit about the playing. Interesting, there's different, if you play tennis, you can throw the rules out of your mind and you play under a little different rules. The ball has to bounce twice before you can start a volley. So a volley is if you hit it through the air, or as it's coming through the air if you hit it before it bounces. But the ball has to bounce twice. So the server hits the ball, it has to land in the front court of the individual that's the receiver. He has to hit it back into the same court that the server hit from, and it has to bounce in that court. After that, once it bounces in that court, it can be hit through the air. So it can come, you don't have to wait for it to bounce. So it can bounce in the kitchen, and you can go into the kitchen to make a quick shot, but you have to immediately exit the kitchen or you get points. The other team gets points. The game has some exercise value. I'm a perfect example of that, but it's not real strenuous. So it's not something that you're going to kill yourself playing. It's obviously, it can be played as singles, and when it's played as singles, you're obviously running a little more than you do in doubles, but in doubles, it's barely moving. So it's a lot of fun. It's fast, but it can be played at all ages. When we play in California, we actually play with our grandchildren who are younger than us. And a lot of times they'll call us up and say, hey, can we come out and play pickleball? So it's a game that can be played families, everybody can get together and do it, or you can have actual competition to play the game. The game is normally played to 11 or 14 points, but in tournament play, it's usually played to 21 points. My wife used to make me play to 21 points before I knew this rule, and I think it was because she wanted to just really bury me. And she always did.
Is there a mercy rule?
21. Okay, Jim. All right. I just wanted to show you a couple of slides from the website of places to play. This is Erie, Pennsylvania, and there's 7 locations in Erie. I will tell you that there are probably half of them are not very nice. My wife and I have gone up there to play some of the outdoor courts, and there's 2 that we do like. They're very nice courts. They're well taken care of, and they're resurfaced. There are 2 or 3 that are private clubs that are closed. So they're $100 membership fee with $6 an hour court fees. So there's 2 of those up there for sure, and maybe more. But the 2 that we play are very nice. One of them has multiple courts. And I mean, when I say multiple, I'm saying 6, 7, 8 courts, something like that. And then one of them has 2 courts. So and there's been many times, if you go up on a weekend, you're going to stand in line to play.
These are located like Presque Isle or the 2 courts?
No, there's, if you go, you know where Hammett Hospital is? It's down in that area. It would be west of Hammett. Up on the hill, you can actually see the lake from up there. There's a park
So
up there.
in the vicinity of.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the other one that we play it would be southern part of Erie, actually. But they're in all kinds of neighborhoods. So then I tried to search for Conneaut. I searched for Ashtabula, and I searched for Geneva. And this is the kind of thing that you get for those 3 locations. The 4th location down there is Mentor. So there is a facility in Mentor that we have not been to. So I can't tell you anything about it, but there is one in Mentor. I can tell you that if the Port Authority is allowed to go forward with this project, we would encourage multiple leagues. I think that would be a good way to go. I think we would encourage multiple ages so that we can get more and more people to come into it as a family. And I'm pretty sure I can get a volunteer to get it started anyway, but I'm sure she would be looking for help. The next thing I want to talk about is, as we looked at these courts and started thinking about it, an idea came to us from outside about a year ago that maybe we should do some ice skating. And there was actually a flyer that came into us about putting up a portable rink at one of our properties. Didn't get a whole lot of support at the time, but it was something that came in as an idea. And then, I know for a number of years, there's been a lot of interest in trying to bring ice skating back to the tennis courts in Conneaut. I don't know if this council has been approached by it, but I do know that there has been others that have approached council about it. So again, the nearest, is there a question?
I think we're picking up somebody's hot microphone.
Okay. So the other thing that's of interest here is places that I know of or was able to find that have ice skating rinks for public and for hockey and things like that. And they are both, one of them's Mentor and one of them's Erie, Pennsylvania. So we were thinking that this would be a good thing for our town, and it would also be something that we could do to help the city. So if the city didn't want to take this on as a responsibility, it's something we could handle. I'm sorry, Jim, two slides.
I accidentally closed the screen share there. See if it'll. There we go.
All right.
There we go.
One more. Yeah, there you go. Thanks. So these are some old pictures from the 60s here in Conneaut and some comments by some of the residents in Conneaut. These were posted on social media along with the comments. Not that I, of all people, would put a whole lot of stock into social media posts, of late especially. There are hundreds of positive comments on there about these skating facilities or these ice skating rinks. There has also been some comments about some of the objection from Conneaut. Whether they're true or not, I have no idea, but there was some that said that there was insurance issues and maintenance issues and things like that, and people to take care of them. Those are things that I know that we can overcome. So if this is something that the council would be willing to do or work with us on, I'm sure we can overcome the issues that I've heard anyway so far. And there were several hundred comments that were all positive, or not all of them were positive, but there were several hundred positive comments, and then there were, a few that were negative.
You happen to know when ice skating stopped at Lakeview Park?
I do not. I know these were all in the 60s. I know that they were still skating when I was in high school in the 70s. But I left in 77, and sometime after that, I think, is when skating stopped.
I'm going to say late 70s, 1980, late 70s.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
George, I remember it would be in the 70s because I was on the fire department, and the fire department would flood the tennis courts for
Yeah,
the
it used to be
skating.
fun.
There were plugs in there for the drains in there.
Yeah.
And
It used to be an event, didn't it, to flood the tennis courts?
Right.
People would go up to watch it, huh?
exactly.
I said to you, yeah. But I remember it being a good family fun thing to do. I mean, you saw parents out there holding hands of children and skating around at all ages. You also saw adults out there by themselves. So it was a lot of fun. Not saying that it's going to happen. I mean, we're in the 2020s now, so. But I think if it gives them an opportunity to get out from behind the computer screen and get on the street.
Well, heck, we had roller skating at Lakeview Park.
Yeah, we did.
Roller skating,
did.
ice skating.
Yep. So,
Like that.
didn't
image
show,
didn't-
did it?
Yeah, the image didn't render.
Sorry about that. There was an image in there that has a portable skating rink, and I think this came from the one that we received in like 2019. It was in the fall or early winter about possibly doing this. I did reach out to these guys to get an updated quote on this kind of thing in case we couldn't use the courts the way they are. Obviously, the most efficient or most effective way or most inexpensive way would be to use the courts as they are. I'm concerned about damage from freezing. I'm concerned also that they used to be curbed all the way around them. That's how they were able to retain the water in them. So if there's a way we could do that, I don't know. So we looked at this, and it's reasonable cost, $11,000 for a 85 by 200. That's a hockey rink size. So that may be an option that we want to look at. And the other one, 40 by 80, is $6,500, and that's delivered.
A chilling system on it?
No, it does not, Jim.
Okay.
It's you flood it, and you need cold weather,
Right.
which we happen to have a few little. So yeah, chilling system obviously would add a lot more cost to it, I think.
there anything that needs to be done to like level the ice or anything?
No, these things, you level these surfaces, get put on any surface. They don't have to be level surfaces, and then you just fill them with water and freeze them. They're made, these are made, this size and this cost is made for municipalities, but they make them for backyards too.
George, if you look at my screen there,
Hey, I've seen that.
yeah. Yeah, I proposed this, that's the proposal you're talking about.
Right.
Back when I was on council in 17 was the date.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys can see the prices there, but it goes from 15 by 30 all the way up to 60 by 100. So anywhere from $2,000 to $7,000. And like I said, I proposed this when I was on council before, and I think Mr. Kozeski and Mr. Roach were the only ones that really agreed to pursue the matter. And that's why I thought I'd bring it down to you guys to look at it. So,
Okay.
but, you know, I'm definitely in favor of doing something like that again. That's why I brought it up, you know, years ago, but really didn't have the support. So,
Yeah, I think it's different now, John. And also if you utilize us for more and more of these kinds of things, I think we can move these forward. The other thing I just want to mention in closing on my portion of this anyway, I'm going to open for as many questions as you want, but I see this as an opportunity for the Port Authority to be more involved in the center of town and to be able to reach out beyond the waterfront. I think our first step was what we did at Weldon Road, which has been a tremendous success. And we did that with partnership with the city. We did it with partnership with the Conneaut Foundation. The CDC was involved. Local vendors were involved. So these are the kinds of things that I think we can help bring to the city of Conneaut and help drive, not just drive economic development, but drive things like this that are going to bring people out into the community. And I'm just going to say one more thing that I found interesting, and it happened today. I happened to be on the call committee at Good Shepherd, chairman, and I had an opportunity to reach out to a couple of pastors that may be interested in coming to Conneaut. And one of them was in Geneva, or Girard, for 20 years ago, and has never been to Conneaut, which is a shame. So as the Port Authority, we want to drive toward more things that are going to bring not just people in our community together, but bring people from the region together. And the region doesn't have to be just Ashtabula County, it crosses state lines. All right, I'm done. Questions?
well, like I said, I'm definitely in favor of some type of winter recreational ideas. And like I said, that's why I proposed that. And if you guys can push it through, we have a different council now. Seems to be more progressive than before. So maybe we could get this through, something like that. But, and I'm also in favor of the pickleball now, or pickleball. Now I will say that the township park is also have this under proposal as well. They're thinking about redoing their old tennis courts. So that would be good if we would have two of them. But my only concern is I'd rather see this at Dean Avenue than Liberty. And the reason being is if Jim Hockaday ever lands us a fire station, we did a study and put in for a grant for the station to be located at Liberty Street Park back in 2009 when I was the safety director. So It's a perfect location for a fire station, and that would be my only concern with not using Liberty Street. Because Jim promised me a fire station many years ago. So if that ever
Well,
comes to fruition.
As I said, I think we can make Dean Avenue or Broad Street, whatever it's called today, but it was Dean Avenue School.
Right.
We can make that work. I think we'll have to do some cost estimate on what it would cost to those courts there are not usable for pickleball as they are today.
Right.
The cracks are just too big. So we'll have to figure out what that would
Where's your
cost.
best parking? Dean Avenue or Liberty?
Dean Avenue,
Is your best parking?
best parking.
Best parking?
So we've talked about this internally too. Dean Avenue, there's two disadvantages to Dean Avenue in my mind and in the Port Authority's mind. And one is the courts. The other is it's not really located in the middle of town. It's still kind of in the harbor, which is, we'll get through that, okay? The advantages of it are that it's bigger and it can be used for off-street parking. There is room there that we could build some off-street parking and use it there. We could use it as off-street parking location for D-Day. However, that could be when we have a lot of people in town that they want to take a break from going to the D-Day events and they may want to play pickleball if that's available to them. And so it could be a conflict, but those are the kinds of things I think we can get through.
And
think-
my reasoning for Dean Avenue was it's lighted. It does have a parking lot, and it would get you guys to fix those courts that are unusable now.
Yeah, but pick up the courts that are on Liberty Street, bring them to us.
Now, I will say, I'll give you a little background on that. So I think it was 2015 when we resurfaced those courts. And it predated my time here. I think Donnie Leighton, who was
I
actually
mean, the Liberty Street courts.
yeah, Liberty Street, sorry.
Yes, yes, it was 15.
Don Leighton, who's in the Public Works Department, actually approached the foundation about receiving a grant to resurface that. So when I got here, the grant was secured. We paved it. We actually had Lance Drew repave it. He's a good, small surface paver, and got it nice and level for us. But it was cracked and in similar shape to that. And the reason for that is even the Conneaut Spartans high school team really didn't have a usable home court. So we did that. And of course that served as their home court, I believe, until 2020 was that when they reopened
Oh, yeah,
the new one?
2019.
2019.
Yeah,
So that served as their primary competition court. So, but now that they have that much bigger facility over there, there really is no end user. I've seen a couple clubs and a couple, coaches maybe working with middle school kids and stuff like that. But there's no primary user for those courts. The other thing that I wanted to share with you all is we had an analysis done by our insurance company, and Joe DeBella, our public works director, has gone through and he's updating that analysis from the insurance company. Basically, they went through and rated all of our equipment. And it says exactly what I thought it was going to say, which was pretty much everything's a do-over. When it comes to playgrounds and equipment like that, it has a shelf life, and that shelf life is dramatically shorter than most people believe.
Mhm.
Maybe out of a playground, you're going to get 10, maybe 15 years. Most of these pieces of playground equipment are well in excess of that and well out of the compliance range that we'd like to see. So I don't want anybody on council to think whether we're talking about Dean or whether we're talking about Liberty or any of these, to view any of that equipment as something that's salvageable. It's really not. And at some point, we probably need to have a more in-depth conversation about either removing or decommissioning some of this stuff because it's now in such disrepair. It needs to go. Like Hayward still has a metal slide. That's way out of the question for compliance. In some of the roto-molded plastic playground equipment, it sun fades, it cracks, and I will tell you, there's no such thing as a replacement part or replacement parts for playground equipment. It really doesn't exist because the moment they make it, it's considered non-compliant. So they tell you to go buy something new. So there's really not a lot of long-term support for this stuff. So in this case, where we're talking about either Lakeview, Dean, Liberty, Hayward, and even Malik, really all those play sets need replaced at this point. They're in the position where they need replaced. The average play set is about $50,000 to $60,000. The other thing that's kind of wonky about our parks is they're all the approximate same age play equipment. We don't have play equipment that's distributed amongst our parks, like one for little kiddies, maybe 3 to 7 or 8, and then from 8 and up, and then larger kids that are more, fields and stuff like that. So our playgrounds are not structured the way we'd want it. We kind of have that old classic pocket park system that there's a lot of replication. So anyways, I just wanted to make sure those couple points were out there, that don't feel like we're giving up anything in terms of the equipment. Really, the only thing that's salvageable and usable about Liberty or Dean would be the courts themselves.
And at Dean, there's basketball courts too, which have a pretty nice surface on them.
Yeah, they have the nicer surface.
I have a question. So if we went with Dean, would those basketball courts stay, or would that be something that would?
Our intent is to leave them. And I did discuss that with the insurance company, and they said that as long as we don't charge, it's okay to do that. I think
Okay.
there's a bigger concern, to Jim's point, I think there's a bigger concern over the playground equipment. And even the surface underneath that equipment is a concern. So it's something we would address.
What would the surface be underneath?
It has to be to a specification, so it can't be like, and I understand some people use chopped up tires and stuff like that. You can't do that. You have to use, there is some specific materials that are made just for playground equipment. You can use mulch, but it has to be a certain kind and a certain size and.
Yeah, if we were to install a new one, it would not require that you can't accept pellets or mulch. It has to be a flat rubberized surface. It's kind of like the
Like a
track material,
like a gym room material,
yeah,
but
it's
only
that rubber bouncy stuff, because it has to be ADA compliant
So
now.
if this playground equipment is kind of outdated,
Mhm.
it cannot be replaced, then are we able just to remove it, get rid of it?
In some cases, I'm going to recommend that. Like Hayward,
Sounds like probably the best solution.
yes. Well, and I was waiting until we had our final full report with the
Right.
upgrades that we've already done.
I mean, like if we're looking at Dean Avenue for pickleball, we would just have pickleball, basketball, get all that other equipment out of there potentially.
Yeah.
We might, yeah.
Well, and you wouldn't see
But-
that as compatible age equipment either. So, not that everybody's the same age when they go a place, but, I mean, typically you want to put compatible
Ages
pieces
together.
together. Yeah.
So would you consider, if you keep basketball, would you consider that be the area where you would want to put the ice hockey rink or the?
No, we'd put it right on the pickleball rink, or courts, yeah. What, if we bought one of these, hopefully, I mean, I think that's probably the right direction to go, just
Yeah.
from the little bit of evaluation we've done so far. You can buy them custom made. The 85 by 200 is custom made for hockey rink, but we could have it just so it fits right on there. I'm not sure that's how far we'd want to go, but you can have them custom made.
Alright.
And there's certainly the 40 by 80 would fit on either court.
Yeah. I think this is a good idea. I mean, it gives something new to the city that hasn't been here for a while, and I think it'd be a positive thing. Anything that takes the park and makes it, gets better use out of it than what it has now, I think is worth it. Absolutely.
we take the maintenance of it too.
I think a lot of the tennis court usage, maybe down Township Park, and I don't know if people are allowed to use the Spark.
I don't know.
Public, I don't know about that, but I think most people I see playing tennis are at Township
At
Park.
Township. Yeah, when I was younger, people would use Liberty, so.
Liberty, yeah.
Yeah, and,
Township Park courts are the worst courts in Conneaut.
yeah, Liberty was like real bad, like when I was probably like 2005, 2006. And then it wasn't until I think 2015 that they were redone, but that was still like the high school primary court.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For their home game, so.
Yeah, the Spark courts, the whole Spark facility is open to the public. That's part of their mission.
Okay, I didn't remember if it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as George was saying, regarding the Easy Ice proposal, that, since it's portable, can actually be put anywhere. So,
Right.
if you wanted to have it down at the public docky, was a proposal that I had thrown in there before, and, as well as any of the parks. So that's the nice thing about the Easy Ice, you can put it anywhere.
Yeah, the Easy Ice, when the port looked at doing just that, we looked at doing it on Day Street. The problem is Day Street is so far over there, and it's also, there's no lights around there, things like that. So there was a lot of disadvantages to doing it on Day Street. So this could be a solution for that.
Well, I love the idea. You made an excellent proposal. We appreciate that. I do like the idea of doing it Dean Avenue instead of Liberty. And speaking of the easy, as soon as you said that about you could take it anywhere, it instantly, I envisioned it being down there. It's like at least temporarily somewhat at Lakeview Park. I think that would be really neat to have it there for a season or something.
There's been some people that have said that too, that would be a nice place. I mean,
Yeah.
they used to skate there. I don't know that we ever had skating at Dean Avenue. I don't recall.
I don't think so at Dean
Not
Avenue.
that I can recall.
Yeah,
It was always at either Liberty or Lakeview Park.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Remember Lakeview. And
When I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to go to Dean Avenue Park.
yeah.
We'll help fix that up. So,
Well, Tammy, you're
All
a
right.
few years late for council there. We would have had a majority back then.
I'm sorry. I tried, remember? It just didn't work
Yeah.
out.
Yes, I remember.
I was 7
Oh,
votes
yeah.
short.
just so you know, I brought pickleball paddles. And these range in cost. This one, nobody in this room can guess, but can any of you guess how much this one would cost?
I'll say $260.
Close. This was my wife's birthday present one year. These run of around $12 to $15 you can get into it. Yeah, here, hold this one and hold that one and you'll see.
Well, I don't want to.
Just don't,
I don't want to.
make sure I leave with that.
Wow, you can tell. Oh, yeah, here, feel it. The weight wise.
Is the good one lighter?
Yes,
I assume.
Yeah. and this is the ball. It's like a wiffle ball, very similar to a wiffle ball.
But it's a little heavier than a wiffle ball. It's
Yes,
not-
it is. It's not,
It seems like it'd be more controllable.
it is. I will tell you that, real heavy winds, it's not fun to play pickleball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like
See the,
trying to play badminton in the wind.
see the south in this one
Oh, yeah.
behind it.
Terry, are you going to show your socks too?
Those are for me and John Williams.
The pickleball
Oh, okay.
socks.
Did you actually buy some?
No, I found them
What?
at Dick's in Savannah, Georgia. Or Hinesville, Georgia.
All right, you have to show them now. Terry, you have to show them now.
All right, there, okay, I got it on my phone. I don't know if you can see it.
You can group text it. You can group text
Yeah, I'll send it out to everybody.
All right, that sounds good. That sounds good.
They're $7.97.
And how do they approve your pickleballing? Like a moisture, special pickleball moisture wicking or?
You might say dink on them, though.
It says Pickleball Orlos was the brand name, made in the USA. They were at Dick's Sporting Goods. Oh, $14.99.
Reasonable.
Yeah, these are right there. But I'll send it out. But these were right next to the rackets, the pickleball rackets, which averaged about $80. And then they had the sleeve of balls, like there'd be two in a sleeve, about $8 for those. I just was killing some time at Dick's and was looking, they have a whole section of this stuff. And being in the southern state, I guess it's very popular.
So here's a question. Would charging for pickleball, like, would rental of equipment be considered you charging?
No,
Okay.
no. Actually, you know, like, we could sell sodas, or even in the wintertime, we could sell hot chocolate, which I'm not advocating we do, but you could do that, and that doesn't consider charging.
That's just wondering, because if it's expensive for equipment, if we had some and then did rentals or something, if that was not considered charging, then something maybe to consider.
Yeah. Okay. That it?
This is
All right.
excellent. I'm very excited. Love this.
Vehicle, did you want to talk about the?
Sure.
Okay.
I had approached, actually, I went to Huntington. We're talking about vehicles for the Port Authority. We have two old vehicles. One was a 94, which we just recently scrapped because it was also a propane truck. And the propane not only was costing us a small fortune, but it sprung a leak. And the cost to replace the tank was just astronomical. So we scrapped it. And the other truck is a 94. The propane truck was a 97. We had went out and got quotes for two new trucks from Greg Sweet. For the two of them, one is a 250, F250, the other one's an F150. For the two of them, it came to like $58,000. We talked to both Ford Motor Company and to Huntington Bank. And Huntington had the best deal. However, they were having a hard time through underwriting, having the port do this on it's a municipal lease, just like what the city does. However, they suggested, well, maybe we can do this with the city. So I think they had a conversation with John, and John and I have talked about this, and it would be the same deal. It would cost the port $12,000 a year for 4 years, and we can easily handle that. And this is something we absolutely have to have. We've never had a new truck. We've always had old trucks, but we're in bad shape. We need the two vehicles. So I came to John, and I think John was trying to figure out whether or not we could do a similar arrangement as to what we already have in place and add the trucks to that. Is that correct?
Yeah, we would probably go under our municipal lease program, lease the vehicles, and then the Port Authority would just reimburse us for the cost. But I said it obviously would require council approval to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to be clear, you're either whether you're talking about fixing a truck from 1996 or buying a new one, your cost is ostensibly going to be the same
Or
So,
higher,
Yeah.
from what we're seeing.
So it's not really a budget distortion for you. It's really, we're paying for a vehicle that's nearly 30 years old versus just buying something new.
That is correct. This is in our budget, by the way, which we built in November of last year.
I don't have a problem with that.
In your budget, I think it'd be fine.
Great. Thank you.
I would like to see up at Liberty Street, so it'd be in Ward 1. I understand. Some people, it'll be. I think your idea of spreading it out around the city instead of down towards the harbor, I'm in favor of that.
Thank you. It's, as I said, we're working on our mission statement because our mission statement, it only has a little bit of it that's really focused on the lakefront. So we actually have brought in Insight to help us with this, and we're going to have some meetings starting on the 25th of this month. And we're going to include public meetings as well so that we can involve the public to have some input into what we're trying to do and to try to let them know what we're trying to do. So it's a start. And we're going to get better all the time.
Did you look at the amended, I want to say 1962 or 63 reauthorization of the Port Authority by council? So just,
I'm sure I did, Jim, but I don't know.
I don't know what year you guys were originally created.
I think it was 62. Well, that's when we became a port authority.
There was something else before that. And what happened is when Lakeville financially collapsed and went into receivership, it was assigned by the courts to the city of Conneaut. So that's how the annexation occurred, is because they went bankrupt. When you guys came into the city of Conneaut, you were designated as the Economic Development Agency. In 62 or 63, once that cured, council actually reauthorized the Conneaut Port Authority, because otherwise they would not be able to do a project outside of the area of original Conneaut. In other words, like the East Industrial Park would be way out of their jurisdiction. So this came up recently, actually, for a project that we're working on together over there. And it was, does the Port Authority have jurisdiction? Yes, you do, because, and if you look at that ordinance, it says that you have an economic development and community development mission, and it describes the area. And I think that's a good, thing to put it on, is because it used to be different, and now it's this whole broader area. And the intent was for you to serve all of Conneaut.
And that's clearly our intent, and that's clearly what we want to do. It does mean we're a lot busier.
That's good. Busy is good. Keeps you out of trouble.
That's right.
So how's it coming with the sheds, the buildings down?
Good. Actually, we're meeting with some city departments this week with permitting. So it's coming along well. We had 22 individual businesses that were interested in being there. It's grown. So there's been a tremendous outpour. I think it could be as big as we want it to be.
Is there just going to be the two, or is there going to be?
No,
four?
right now we have 4 on order. I'm seeing maybe 6 and 21, maybe. But beyond that, I don't know what. That's going well. Looks like the water's going to be down this year, 12 to 16 inches, which will mean that we can open the sandbar and have some activities out there as well. So
No pandemic.
no pandemic.
Like,
Well,
hopefully.
there may still be one, but maybe we can survive with it. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. We do have, if you have a minute, we do have issues in our lagoon. We have about 16 empty docks. And the reason those docks are empty is they're too short. They're 18-foot boats, and people that have had 18-foot boats are upgrading for whatever reason. They're going bigger now. So we're seeing a trend of bigger and bigger boats every day.
So the max is 18 foot for those docks.
For those docks. So we're going to, we've asked CT to take a look at it and propose how we can better utilize those. How can we take those empty docks and turn them into bigger docks that we can use. The other thing that we're seeing a tremendous amount of activity in is jet skis. We bought in the off season, we bought 6 new jet ski docks and they're already filled. So, and we've got a waiting list on jet skis now. So it's possible that maybe some of those empty docks will have jet ski docks in them. We just have to look at how that works. The other problem that you run into when you're jet skis and boats are them trying to get out and in together, and more policing of jet skis and how fast they come into the marinas and pull into their docks and stuff like that. So it's, we want to do this, but we need to walk carefully. Okay, cool. I'll let you guys out early.
Hey, John,
Yes,
one thing, since I wasn't at the meeting Monday, did bring up the proclamation for Elvira Castrilla Anderson.
yes, it was.
Okay. Is Kyle going to have something ready by the 22nd, you think?
Well, I'm hoping because we did approve and go forward with it.
It's in my,
If you have any additional information for him, if you could reach out to him. I know originally it was a little sparse on the information, so.
basically what is in my email, but I can, I'll reach out to Kyle, but basically what was in my email was the information that I obtained and got from the person who had called me.
Okay, yeah, if you could follow up with him, because sometimes he might forget.
Okay.
And George, like I said before, I appreciate all the work you guys are doing down there. It's, looking good. And these proposals are excellent. Long overdue, as far as the winter sports activity, in my opinion, so.
This isn't going to solve all of our winter sports issues, but our winter activities, but it's a start.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Any other topics for tonight? Jim, did you have anything you wanted to update on?
We did get our bid in or I should say ODOT got their bid in for the big project. And they were approximately 10.5% under their engineer's estimate. So that's excellent. A couple things to notate there is there are fuel adjustment cost allowances that the contractor can express. But I know we talked about some minor changes as the official plans, possibly pressing in a little deeper on some of the aprons to some of the streets. And then we talked about a guardrail issue on Center Street and extending it to the top of the hill. Those costs would be ours. So any of the money that we would save under the estimated budget, we would be able to use those dollars for those things that we thought might improve the project to an extent. So it's always good to be under at the start of the project, and we'll see where we land. But now I'm going to forget the name of the company off the top of my head, but they are out of Youngstown. I had not heard of them. CT seemed to be rather pleased with the low bidder. So pretty happy with that. The one that I'm going to throw at you this next council meeting, kind of out of the blue, is ODOT has their 2021-22 salt contract. We do it every year where we collaboratively bid with ODOT and accept the salt pricing from ODOT. Usually comes up fast. They sent it out this morning, and it is due the 30th of April. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the next council session so we can go ahead and get it done and sent back to ODOT if we can. It's almost housekeeping, but those are the two major updates. I would also say, it was a fantastic job by the health department, fire department, UH, and several volunteers for the clinic that they did, the COVID-19 vaccination clinic. Between Friday and Saturday, I think they did 600 some folks, which is really impressive. And that was not including the school teachers that they did on their second round on Friday as well. So it was a really busy week, and they were back at their vaccination clinic at Station 3 again today. So they're grinding very hard. I just once again appreciate everybody in the health department, university hospitals, and their outreach nursing staff, and all the volunteers and firefighters and paramedics that are doing that. It's an impressive undertaking.
Yes, it is. I see they are moving some equipment there at West Main and Gore. Some equipment is moved in.
Yes, so they are staging. Dominion is staging. They are going to start on the Gore side. I don't expect construction to start until Wednesday, and they anticipate a project timeline of 3 to 4 weeks. There should not be any closures, but there might be some limited traffic control or lane closures, but no directional control. It'll be consolidating to one lane in each direction or something like that to give them enough space to work. So I don't anticipate anything, any issues. We will have an inspector on site the entirety of the time during construction. And the other thing is the updated signal arms went in out at Truck World. We're not ready to go into activation yet, but I'm sure they hung up clusters today, and I'll let you know what the final activation day where they cross over to the new structures.
Yeah, I did see that today as well, that they were hanging the cross arms up, so making progress there.
Yep. That's all I
Okay,
have.
very good. Does anybody else have any business for this evening?
I have a couple things, John. I did get a message from a resident who lives in the senior apartments across from Clark gas station there on Harbor. And she's concerned that there seems to be a lot of pedestrian crossing there with elderly people that have come really close to getting hit. And she was wondering maybe some signages, look out for pedestrians, or I'm not sure what we could put there. But I hadn't heard of anything else coming up about that in the past, but she seemed rather concerned about it. So I wanted to bring it up to everybody. What do you guys think? Have you heard anything similar?
Yeah, we've had issues there for years, and that's why Mr. Kozeski and I were really pushing to make sure we had crosswalks and signage, which we do have in the area. I know it's a busy intersection. Maybe we could look at some of those solar signs down the road, like at what we have at Chamberlain.
Okay. She was just thinking that the cars don't seem to realize that there may be some elderly pedestrians crossing the street. And so whatever we could do, sounds like it needs addressed.
Yeah, it's definitely a busy intersection, it's for sure.
Yeah. So that was one thing. So I'll let her know that we'll look into that, or can we talk about that more?
You're talking at Main and Harbor, correct?
Right. Well,
State and Harbor, Jim.
State and Harbor.
Okay.
By the senior apartments there.
Conneaut Manor.
Yeah.
But she's referring to people crossing Harbor along
Harbor
and State
and
to get to
crossing
Dollar
State.
General.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's become worse since Dollar General is there because that's where they shop. So, yeah.
We can take a look at it.
Okay, very good. And then in the newspaper, ODOT had their announcement with their projects, and it seemed to me that they were still going to pave up to Kingsville, which I thought they put off until next year.
It's bid as a singular project, so So it's all one big project. So there's multiple components. There's the full depth piece, which
Right.
is Parish to Gore. And then there's the resurfacing pieces, which are between Gore and Kingsville,
I think so,
and
right.
then Parish and the Viaduct Bridge. Then there is the Center Road Bridge, and then there is the Lake Road culvert over Kelsey's Run. That is all one project to ODOT. Though it has multiple pieces and they're going to be executable across multiple calendar years, it's a single project.
Okay, all right. Because the way it read, it seemed like that was going to be now, and I know I'm going to be getting questions about that because when I spoke at our, with our senior class at the Human Resource Center, they kept asking me about that being paved up to Kingsville. So, okay, I just wanted to clarify that. And then I did also want to send a shout out also to the health department. I had the opportunity to work with them on Saturday, and it was a wonderful experience. They do a fabulous job. It was very well organized, ran very well. Even if situations came up, everything was handled very professionally. And it made me proud to do it. You know, we have a great city. People seem to come together when it's needed. And that's what it's all about. So kudos to them. And I can't wait till we can say that we are all vaccinated here in Conneaut. So, and that's all I have for tonight. And thank you to Mr. Peterson. It was a wonderful presentation.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, George.
You bet.
Thank you.